Here's why Larry Strong betrayed his own family for Alicent Hightower. Welcome to the channel. Subscribe if you love House of the Dragon, Game of Thrones, and deep dives into Westerosi lore. Let's begin. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we're going to peel back the layers of one of the most cunning and sinister characters in House of the Dragon, Larys Strong, also known as the Clubfoot. In a world filled with ambitious kings, scheming queens, and power-hungry lords, few figures embody the darker side of political survival like Larys. He is not the strongest knight, nor the boldest warrior, nor the most charismatic lord. Instead, Larys survives and thrives through silence, manipulation, and betrayal. And his greatest betrayal of all? Turning against his very own family, the powerful House Strong, by orchestrating their fiery deaths at Harrenhal. Also, he could tie his future to Queen Alicent Hightower and her faction in the looming Targaryen civil war. But why? Why would a man kill his father, Lord Lionel Strong, and his brother, Ser Harwin Strong, the very people who protected him and carried the honor of his house? Why would he align himself so fully with Alicent, a queen married to a frail and dying king, instead of pursuing independence or even supporting Rhaenyra Targaryen, the heir apparent? This is the question we're tackling today, the real reason Larys Strong betrayed his family for Alicent Hightower. So grab a seat, because this is a story of ambition, resentment, and the twisted search for power through proximity. To understand Larys Strong's betrayal, we first need to understand Larys himself. Born into House Strong, one of the more respected noble families of Westeros, Larys carried a burden from birth, his clubfoot. This deformity marked him as different, weak, and perhaps even cursed in the eyes of Westerosi society. Unlike his brother Harwin, who is celebrated as breakbones for his strength and martial skill, Larys grew up in the shadow of mockery and limitation. While Harwin trained with swords and won renown in tourneys, Larys spent his childhood listening, watching, and analyzing. His disability forced him to adapt, to sharpen his mind as his weapon, because he knew he would never win glory on the battlefield. The resentment must have built over time. His father, Lord Lionel Strong, though wise and capable, likely viewed Harwin as the true heir and Larys as a problem to be managed. Imagine growing up in a family where you're constantly compared to your larger-than-life brother, the Golden Son, while you are seen as frail, twisted, and almost invisible. This invisibility, however, became Larys' advantage. People spoke freely around him, dismissing him as unimportant. He could gather secrets, study ambitions, and understand the flaws of others in ways that the strong and proud could not. In short, his weakness became his strength. And deep down, Larys carried a bitterness toward those who underestimated him, including his own blood. When we meet Larys in House of the Dragon, he has already inserted himself into the world of politics. He joins Queen Alicent's circle, becoming one of her confidants. He positions himself not as a knight, not as a lord of action, but as a man who listens, advises, and offers solutions. King's Landing is the perfect environment for someone like Larys. It's a city of whispers, schemes, and daggers in the dark. While lords and knights chase honor, Larys quietly learns how power actually works. He watches as the court divides into factions. Rhaenyra Targaryen's faction, backed by her father King Viserys and later supported by Daemon Targaryen, who believe in her claim as the king's named heir. Alicent Hightower's faction, fueled by her father Otto Hightower's relentless ambition, aiming to secure the throne for her sons Aegon and Aemond. For Larys, choosing sides was not about morality, loyalty, or blood. It was about survival and opportunity. He recognized that Rhaenyra's faction already had dragons, military strength, and strong allies. Meanwhile, Alicent, though vulnerable, needed help, and that meant she would depend on him. Dependency is the greatest currency for someone like Larys. The defining moment of Larys' character, and the betrayal that cements his reputation, comes with the fire at Harrenhal. Here's the context. Lord Lionel Strong had risen to become Hand of the King after Otto Hightower was dismissed. Lionel was respected, wise, and steady, a stabilizing influence in King Viserys' court. But rumors began to swirl about his son Harwin Strong's close relationship with Rhaenyra Targaryen. Many whispered that Harwin was the true father of her children, casting doubt on their legitimacy. This was dangerous not only for Rhaenyra, but also for House Strong. Lionel, a man of honor, was caught in a trap. His son's actions threatened the entire family's reputation. He even attempted to resign as Hand of the King, though Viserys refused to let him. For Larys, this was the perfect storm. He saw an opportunity to eliminate both his father and his brother in one stroke, removing the shadows that kept him small. By arranging the fire that killed them at Harrenhal, Larys not only rid himself of rivals within his family, but also created a power vacuum that only he could fill. And, crucially, he framed this atrocity as an act of service to Alicent Hightower. When Alicent complained that her father Otto should be restored as Hand, Larys acted. He gave her what she wanted, though in the most brutal way possible. Otto was reinstated after Lionel's death, and Alicent, knowingly or not, became indebted to Larys forever. This is the twisted brilliance of Larys. He commits a monstrous crime, but he cloaks it as loyalty. He makes Alicent complicit, ensuring that she cannot easily cast him aside. But why Alicent? Why throw away his own blood for the queen? The answer lies in psychology and politics. 1. Resentment toward his family. Larys likely felt overshadowed and neglected within House Strong. Harwin embodied everything Larys was not: strong, brave, beloved. Lionel was wise, but likely never saw true greatness in his clubfoot son. By killing them, Larys freed himself from their shadow. 2. Dependency and control. Alicent, unlike Rhaenyra, was in desperate need of allies. She was trapped in a court where her position was constantly under threat. Larys knew that by tying himself to her, he could become indispensable. He didn't want to serve someone who had power. He wanted to serve someone who needed him. 3. Ambition through proximity. Larys had no chance of seizing a throne, leading an army, or commanding dragons. But he could gain power indirectly, through whispers, manipulation, and influence over those in power. Alicent gave him that path. 4. Shared outsider status. In some ways, Larys and Alicent mirrored one another. Both were underestimated. She as a woman bound by duty to a sickly king, and he as a cripple dismissed as weak. Perhaps he saw in Alicent someone whose rise would reflect his own. Larys' betrayal is not only personal, but also symbolic. In a world ruled by dragons and warriors, he represents the danger of the quiet, overlooked man. He thrives in chaos, using fire and blood to clear paths that brute strength could not. By betraying his family, he sent a message: nothing is sacred, not blood, not honor, not loyalty. The only thing that matters is power and survival. And he is willing to burn down everything, even Harrenhal, the seat of his own house, to get it. The betrayal works, at least for a time, with Lionel and Harwin.